I'm Martha Cole, and I'm going to be talking about general rules for participating in a CAS exhibit. Most of the stuff that I talk about would apply to any exhibit that you're participating in, but I've tailored it specifically toward CAS for this presentation. To be in a CAS exhibit, the first thing is you have to be a member of CAS, you have to pay your dues, and you have to pay the hanging fee. You also need to sign the waiver and release forms. Tracking all of that now, so you have to have all of those things to participate. Your artwork that you're going to have included in our exhibits needs to be family friendly. We don't hang nudes, we don't hang sexually explicit material or violent material. We also don't hang art that is religious content unless it's like a religious venue or the venue has told us that it's appropriate there. We also need to deliver your art on time. As has been mentioned before, everybody that's participating with the installation is volunteer. And they have other things to do with their life other than wait around for you to deliver your art. Also, we can't install the art really until we get all of it in, because that helps us in knowing how we're going to arrange it. We need all of it there. When you bring your art in, you've already sent your label information in advance. Make sure that the art that you bring in matches the labels that you had us make. Don't bring in pieces that we don't know about, because we don't have any labels for those, and we have not planned for them in the amount of art that we've accepted. It's also a good idea to put your name and the title of the piece on the back, because when the art comes down at the end of the exhibit, you know, sometimes somebody might have a hard time finding their piece of art when they come to pick it up. Well, we have an easier time as an install team helping you find your art if there's labels there that we can look at easily. As has been mentioned before, CAS doesn't assume any responsibility if your artwork gets damaged or lost. So it's hang at your own risk. However, you know, we pick venues that we think are going to be safe. And the venues themselves are very concerned about, you know, keeping the art safe as well. We've got your art. We also need to make sure that when you bring it in, it's ready to hang. By ready to hang, we mean several different things. If your artwork is covered with glass, the glass needs to be clean and not scratched. If it's framed, the frame needs to be in good shape and not dinged up or scratched, because that doesn't make your artwork look as professional if you don't have that done. If it's not framed and you've got a canvas, like a heavy-duty canvas, you need to finish the edges. If the edges are not trimmed or made to look pretty, that detracts from the art. So we want you to have painted the rim or the edges all the same color, or to match the artwork that you're exhibiting. So you can overlap or overlay on the sides as to what you're exhibiting overall. We've already talked some about sales. When you bring your art in and if you sell a piece, the assumption is that you are going to pay 15% of that to CAS. That's part of our operating expenses that we take into account, and that's a lot less than you'll pay in a lot of areas. And, you know, you do exhibits with somebody else, and you, in some places, may pay up to 40 or 50%. We generally like for the art to hang for the whole show. Sometimes you may have a buyer that doesn't want to wait, and we work with them. Unless it's a show where they have told us that it has to hang to the whole show. If it's one where we have some wiggle room, what you need to do is you need to contact the exhibit coordinator before you go out and change out art. Because we need to know what art is coming in and out, and the venues want to know, because they, even though they don't have any legal responsibility, they get real concerned if they see somebody coming taking art off the wall and they don't know about it. So please work with your exhibit coordinator to make sure that they know and they can contact the venue to let them know. If you're going to take a piece off the wall, you need to have something to put back on the wall that is similar in size, at least. Now, River Bend is a little different. We're taking stuff off the wall and not putting anything back up. But most of the time, we don't want to leave blank spaces on the wall, because the exhibit doesn't look as professional then if you've got gaps all over the place. The other thing is, when you're participating in the exhibit, be nice to the installers. They are your volunteers. Also, be nice to the people at the venue. Now I'm going to get into a little more of the background stuff. What do the installers do when you take your art in? What do they do with this? How do they do the installation? Well, you've got a job to do when you bring the art in. When you bring it in, you need to bring it in on time. You need to sign in. We always have sign in and sign out at all of the CAS exhibits. So you need to sign your artwork in by piece. And once you've got it signed in, then you need to find your labels, because we'll have label stacks for each one of the artists. Find your labels and go match them up with your pieces of art that you're putting along the wall. Once you've got that done, we're done with you unless you're part of the install team. Don't hang around inside the venue, because most places, the venues are doing business while we're doing the installation. So we don't want to take up excess space in the venue. And it also makes it harder for the install team to start working on your art. If you need to have a conversation with somebody that's there, take it outside. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't impede the business from running or the installation team from doing their job. Now, we've got your art. We don't start installing anything until we have all the art there. So it's very important that you do your stuff on time, that you get it in, get it signed in, and we've got all the art there. Once we've got the art there, our install teams usually breaks up where they work in pairs. And each pair will pick a different area of the venue to focus on. They'll start moving art to that area that they think goes together nicely, and the other teams will be doing the same thing. So art moves in and out while we're trying to arrange the whole venue. And you may notice that your artwork doesn't necessarily all get grouped together, because our aim is not to highlight any particular artist. Our aim is to make the whole exhibit look good overall. We also try to take striking pieces or things that are really eye-catching and put them in the most prominent locations so that people want to come into the venue and look. You know, if they have their attention grabbed, then they're going to stay and look at the rest of the art. For small pieces, we may take a group of small pieces and group them together, or we might put them in a little small area that doesn't have a lot of room for bigger pieces. Once we have all of the art arranged, you know, all of the teams have gotten through with their area, we'll go around and make sure that we've got all the art arranged throughout the venue, and that's when we start to do the actual installs. And again, we try to work in teams of 2. So it's easier to hang something with somebody standing back from you saying, yeah, that's exactly where that should be. We use gallery style hangers to hang the art, and I forgot to bring one with me. And we use museum putty to put the labels up. And those two leave less damage to the wall. So we try to always use the gallery style hangers and the museum putty. But as you can see, installing art at a venue is not really a science. It's more of an art. And our teams learn as we go, so a lot of us may not have ever done this before, so we're learning, but we don't ever put anybody in installing without them having somebody more experienced to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.